look at the future.
Well, beautiful ladies. I promise not to fall apart. I did therapy all week long. But really beautiful. The notes were incredibly awesome and hauntingly beautiful. I felt my jaw going, is that me singing? Oh, YouTube, cut that piece out somehow. But it is so universal, that depth of those tones and those sounds, and then putting them in such harmony. So beautiful. I long to sing that. I've watched so many of those programs on TV. The Voice just got over, and I was just addicted to that show. So after this, we'll call a number and vote, I guess. Vote you in. That was just absolutely gorgeous. So today's talk, it's interesting. They were still working on the same book about A New Design for Living by Ernest Holmes. And as the chapters progress, he's talking about the idea of looking into the future and also present moment living. And when I was reading the chapter on a look to the future, it was actually a chapter about immortality and the eternality of the soul. And I thought, I don't know if I remember one talk that Dr. Andrea did one time when she talked about impermanence and immortality, and she started it off very boldly, and she said, sometime next year one of you won't be here. And I remember we all kind of went, and then we started looking around at somebody that was older than us, and I thought, I don't really want to go there. I think we got the point. That was a very important message, the eternality and the immortality. Yes, that is a truth, that is a principle. But what I'm going to talk about today is just a little bit of a tweak on that and something slightly different. There is the idea, that you're already creating your future by what you're thinking right now. And that could be good news or bad news, one of those kinds of stories. And I've been really watching my mind because there's been habit ways of thinking that I have done. And I've also shared with you last week that I'm getting ready to do that prosperity class, and there's gold dust in the air. And that whole idea, I have just been transforming some of my fear-based thoughts of not enoughness and the yippiness of some future expenses. But it's a daily work. It's a daily work of paying attention to what thoughts am I going to create in my future. So what thoughts are you creating? As I was going through the last year through part of this first stage of this foot surgery, I remember not being able to do anything, and I was kind of watching the margins of my hips on the recliner going, okay, you can stay right within here. It goes beyond that, and I thought, would I just create a future knowing that the hips will stay within that margin? And then this year I'm going, oh, I'm back, and let me see, where was that margin? Oh my God, I'm beyond it already. and so I think, okay, I want to create these ideas. I want to create this idea of a healthy, vital body that continues on as my years progress, because the body lives in present moment. It's just doing what you feed to it. It's not living in the future. And so this idea, though, we sometimes come across of a fear of change. There's something unknown out there. But our thoughts, as the reading was so beautifully shared, thoughts are creative. We find that this is the foundation of our universe. And what we think today absolutely does bear the influence on what we're going to experience tomorrow. So if we want to expect it to happen on a certain level, we need to really be the gatekeeper of our fears. To live without fear so that there's a fearless tomorrow. And this is such a huge topic because we have this precious little baby up in the front row here. And so we want to create a future for this one that is filled with opportunity and not like, oh, the way things are going. We don't want to do that. We want to lift these ideas up into a higher place and recognize that we truly can make this a kingdom, that this young baby absolutely walks and enjoys, and all of our children and our grandchildren have this beautiful future. Because we recognize there are laws that we're working with, and every law is absolutely harmonious, and every law ultimately leads to a greater good. And what feeds that law is the divine source that is immortal, that source that is eternal, that source that we drink upon, that we are such a part of in every way. So we are meeting God every day in every way. And we are in this teaching to learn how to express it more deeply, more powerfully, and more honestly and authentically, so that it's our truth. In the textbook, Ernest Holmes says, equally, we must not have fear for the future. I love how he sees it, because he sees the future as bright with promise. It beckons me forward into a more complete realization of my own worth and my rightful place in the universe. All my tomorrows will be happy, filled with harmonious occupations. I look to the future with great and pleasurable anticipation, knowing it will expand my opportunity for radiant self-expression. Spoken by the founder of our teaching, and let us follow in his footsteps. He adds this: I love my past and my future, and I understand that they are but continuations of the one unbroken chain of life. So there is nothing to be afraid of in our future. There's no past that can bring discord into the present moment. Very, very important for you to really feel that what has been done, though it carries pieces of shame or blame or regret, all of those heavy, heavy things that we just carry, that certain things can trigger it, and then we just can go down that pathway. But as I shared in the earlier service, Ernest Holmes says, pick the thorns out of those wounds and just look at the gift, the good that those events helped you to be awake and aware of in your life, so you can rejoice and not feel that you have to be suffering. He says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. Life is a mirror. It will reflect back to you what you think into it. So take that opportunity to gaze, to look deeply. We did an earlier meditation at the 9 o'clock service. This idea of awareness is something that we do not grasp at. You see, there's a way, if you were to look at these beautiful flowers that Patty gifts our church with every single week. She brings her art to us in this form. It's her gift, it's her save, it's her heart. And so if I was to have you look deeply into those flowers, a lot of you would take your eyes and you would just choose a certain color, or something would draw you. But there's something about taking your eyes and hardening that look. But you see, with awareness, you allow your eyes to just be like window panes. And as you glance upon that beauty, you allow that beauty just to enter you without any hardness or grasping. It is such a subtle difference, but it is what this awareness is. It is what is penetrating the very soul of your being. It is what is creating that eternality, that immortality, that sense of grace and peace and awareness. So you allow beauty, you allow these attributes of God to be ever present like windows. You're just looking out and there it comes to you. It is such a sweet anointing. I can feel it when I remind myself to pay attention to that quality of seeing my world. There is a poem that Martha Graham, who is a dancer, says, there is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only you, only one you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium. The world will not have it. It's not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable, nor how it compares with others' expressions. It is your business to keep it yours clearly and directly, to keep that channel open. Doesn't that free you up? You just have this gift stirring inside of you. Someone, and I won't point to him, though he's in the front row, shared with me, I'm doing art now. And there was a part of me that quickened, and I shared that part with him. I said, because there was part of me that goes, okay, please like it, because I'm so afraid that I would show that other face that would go, oh, should I encourage this moment, or should I, kind of stifle it? But it was pure beauty. It was pure beauty. Not only was I relieved, but it was easy to express. And it was easy to express because he takes great pride and joy in that. And yay, that channel is open. I didn't step on his hose of, stomping it down and saying, go back to working somewhere else. It was just pure beauty. So, I don't want to embarrass him, although I already have. So all things exist in this one mind, this God mind. And Rumi reminds us through this beautiful stanza, your task is not to seek for love. Again, remember that idea of the awareness. Don't seek it, don't grab for it, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. Got some work to do? Got some work to do. I know I do. And when I read that particular poem, it took me to a place, I was alone with my thoughts, and it took a while for that inner voice to kind of bring these teachings into a real place for me. And as I was sitting in that space, I was glancing out at our lawn, and we don't have one of those lawns that you can buy and put down. We, years and years ago, that was too much for me to really invest in at the time, so they planted seeds. And so the lawn was planted with seeds, and we would water. We did have enough to do the sprinkling system. And so I'd watch these beautiful little blades of grass come up, and along with them, the weeds. And I started getting neurotic. I would be out there going, I gotta get the weeds, and I was plucking these leaves, and then I would be just so concentrated on these, and I'd look over and think, my God, there's a lot of grass here, but I gotta get these weeds out. And then I would get over here, and I'm thinking, they're growing back over there. I had to let it go. I just had to let it go. Because I realized, there's certain things, certain experiences that we've had in our life that we can pick away at forever. But there's a truth. Those weeds can merge and blend with grass itself, and nobody would know the difference if I just quit butzing so much. But then I started thinking about those really big weeds that have that. They're kind of like dinosaurs or something. I don't know where they came from. But they have these prickles that you can't even willingly want to pull it out of the ground because it kills your hands. And so I had one of those out there, and I thought, I'm going for it. I'm one with this weed because it does not belong there. And so I'm thinking of this as an analogy for those big things in my own self that I keep finding will, even though I think I've done my work, it starts to grow, and then there it is and all its prickles. And I think, okay, I'm going to go for it. And so you breathe with it, and you go for it, and you pull, and then it breaks in half. And so has that happened to you? You've had a spiritual journey, and you think for a while, I'm working it, I'm pretty much healed it, I've forgiven it, it's pretty much gone. But I've really only cut the root. And so then it comes back in even a bigger glory, right when you're having company, or right when you want to go barefoot on the ground and there it is, those prickles. And so you think to yourself, okay, I can just do Roundup. I don't really want to work that hard spiritually, so I'll just spray it with Roundup and kill everything else around it. So you're killing all the good too, right? You've just kind of done that, but what's lying beneath? Some mutant. I don't know what Roundup really does, but there's something mutant growing down there now. And have I really gone deep into the spiritual cause of this that I find keeps rooting itself deep into my soul? This is what Rumi points to, these barriers. And so then I think, okay, it's just going to take time and patience and a really big knife. And so I go out there and I groove a big knife and I let the ground get moist. Have you been there with the weed? And then you pull. Oh, some leaves break off, but you're still going deep in your spiritual practice. You're one with this. You pull, and you get every last tiny hair of that root. And you hold it up into the air and you just feel like, yes, I have overcome. And you take it to the dumpster and you say, go, be reborn again into a gentle blade of grass. That's my story. Thank you for listening. That's about, I don't have a whole lot of original thoughts, but that was one of them. And it comes, but those kind of thoughts come to you as you percolate through some of the ancient wisdom, some of those beautiful truths that stir us into an idea of just really being present. I've been going to a chiropractor, and he was sharing with me one of his theses, because he always does his, and then he says, and then he lays his hands on me, and I always look for that part. And I said, are you blessing me? And he said, yes, I am. And so I said, I like that part the best. And so he was sharing with me some of his philosophy. And so he speaks that oftentimes there is this, he does that holding to take time to deeply listen. So he's holding his patient with his hands, and he's asking himself to deeply listen for that still voice inside of him, that inner voice that guides him. And he writes in his thesis that it's not the chatter of the mind, because we can know that difference. When I speak of that still small voice, I know you all have it. And it's that still small voice that encourages us to look longer at the weeds out there and to find the truth of why you're gazing there, to let go of the chatter that always causes you to behave or to act in habit ways. The mind, he described it as a receiver. Our mind, our one mind with the God is just receiving, and everything's being transmitted so clearly to us. And we get these flashes of inspiration and truth. So we're asked always in our spiritual journey, in our philosophy here, every faith path has the absolute highest spiritual truth. No matter which faith path you choose, no matter what you were born with, no matter what your history has been, go back, you will see great truth being revealed to you. And the mind is receiving those messages, and there'll be a flash of inspiration. And then you can explore, oh my, I learned that. You know, I remember, yes, Jesus loves me, the Bible tells me so. And I thought, I don't get the Bible. And so I would, at that time, as a young child, I kept saying that. And now, when scripture is pulled from the Bible, I'll see, oh, now it's speaking to me. Now I have a clearer knowing. I'm allowing these truths not to be resisted in any way, and not to feel my less than, but to just be anointed by them all. So we're choosing the tools. We're choosing the tools to find our way. And with that weed analogy, I think that sense of getting the big knife is like when we're really stuck, that big knife is the practitioner or the minister. And you go and you bring your heart and you say, I am stuck here and I keep prickling myself. Will you please? You know the truth. Will you see it for me, as me? Can you uproot this in its fullness? And so this letting go, this opportunity, is the essence of the spiritual life. It's the heart of our practice. We can release all the opinions, all the expectations. What a relief. What a relief, isn't it? When you can let that down and let that go. You don't have to have a certain outfit or weigh a certain amount. You can just start right where you are. The body is so willing to be so present with you in this moment, to have that dialogue, to have that experience. And letting go for yourself leads you to a greater compassion for all other beings. As you heal yourself, as you heal those little pieces of you that nag or judge or get pushed by an idea of somebody else living in their glory, and you could have some envy about that. It's important for you to really look at that and wonder, what's going on with this? Why am I not at peace? Look carefully at every moment that you're set back from another and the heart starts to feel like it's contracted in. There's this quote I wanted to share. In traveling this path of inner transformation, we're encouraged to let go of everything, to relinquish every form of clinging. We're encouraged to let go of preoccupation with the past. We're asked and invited to let go of investing a lot into the future and then even clinging into the present. You know, sometimes we're just reveling in something. We don't want that moment to pass. I love it when I'm at the ocean. I cling to those moments because I know we live so far away. And there's something that the ocean speaks to you. Not only is the ocean such a symbolic idea of God in its glory, and we are the wave, we are one with that ocean, but there's that beautiful space between each wave as well that is beautiful to explore. And so I have this idea, I want to cling in those moments. And Charlie is always, when we're traveling along the coast, he'll always allow time to stop and to reflect and to stare and to be. We need those moments. So, but not clinging to that present moment. We move on. We're encouraged to renounce our images, renounce our image of what we want to be. There's nothing bad about trying to hold an idea of yourself, but don't be so anchored into it that you defeat it all the time by being discouraged. And so we want to renounce expectation, fears, and guilt. We're taught that holding is the path to limitation. Letting go is the direct path to awakening. This letting go is what allows us to be fully present here rather than occupied with what we were hoping for or what was. Oftentimes we linger so with our broken heart on something that was. We need to just be grateful, compassionate with ourselves, feel it, and then lift it on up. This brings a spaciousness to our heart, and that's another thing that we long for. We want to have that revealed. So we're not imprisoning ourselves with any idea of fear or worry. We're living very wisely for today. And we're allowing this spacious wisdom to deeply find us right where we are. These flashes of inspiration, Walter Russell says this, come to us only to those who plug into the universe and become harmonious with its rhythms by communion with it. Inspiration and intuition is the language of light through which men and God intercommunicate. Isn't that beautiful? Intercommunicating through the language of light, man and God. The universe does not bestow favors upon a few whom it seeks out as its interpreters. It is just the reverse. The universe gives to those who ask without any favor at all. The electric plug which connects you is that desire. And I applaud you in that desire to say, yes, it's Sunday morning and I am choosing I am choosing to take myself into a space, into a community that will support me on this journey, that will sit with me as I am in my true nature. My conversations with my fellows is deep and true and real and honest. I reveal all aspects, all angles of who I am, so that a greater truth can emerge. And so I wanted to close with a reading from Leonard Jacobson, and he writes this. It's a dialogue with God. A man was truly seeking God, and each one of you is truly seeking God. I love you, he cried, but I do not know how to find you. The answer, be still, replied God. Be silent, be present. Look and you will see me. Listen and you will hear me, for I am everywhere. At first it will be difficult, for I am invisible, I am hidden, and I speak very softly. You must become silent if you are to hear me. You must become still if you are to see me. You must become vulnerable and sensitive if you are to feel me. You must become innocent if you are to know me. Surrender all your beliefs about me, for I am beyond belief. Do not try to imagine me, for I am real and cannot be imagined. Do not create me in your image, for I am beyond all imagery. Be sincere and you will find me, for I am love and I am with you always. You cannot comprehend what I am like, so don't try. Just be present. Be still. I love this. Behold, I am here. I love that. I am the one and the all. I am everything, I am nothing. I am the beginning, the end, I am eternal silence, I am peace everlasting. I am that I am, in me the truth shall be known. Through me all will be revealed. I am at the very center of your being, I am your foundation. I am your rock, upon me you build your Jerusalem. Love those words. Behold. As Rumi reminds us, let us look with eyes that see through the barriers that only we created. God didn't do that. So join with me in a knowing. I feel the presence here. There is a silence, a truth that is expressed through every breath, through every heartbeat. And we let that breath out, and we stay connected, in tune with the One. This is our opportunity to really feel that connection to love, to God, to the name, to the nameless. Let it fill every cell of your body. Let this knowing touch every aspect of you that needs the healing now, be it physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Know that it is done now. That you are sitting in the presence of the One and supported by the many. This is truly a very powerful moment that we share together. And in gratitude, in humility, I bow at the sincerity of this truth expressed by the profound silence that beckons us to go deeper. Thank you, God. And so it is. Thank you for deeply listening, and there's something else you get to listen to now, because I would like to invite our guest forward, Dr. Harion.